Okay. And when you went to prison, you and your wife actually separated.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Even though she didn't get any prison time herself, right?
No.
Okay. Was there a reason why she left you at that point?
Oh, well, we just didn't work out, I guess. But, having to go to prison just was the icing on the cake for all that, I guess.
I mean, was that hard having to go to prison, leave your kids? Even though it was only 10 months, it's still, now you're a felony counterfeiter. And, I mean, your life was about to really change because of all this.
Yeah, of course. I mean, and I got the original indictment happened. I was released on pretrial and then COVID hit. Excuse me. So the courts were shut down so I've been dealing with this whole thing for 3 years now, 4 years. But yeah, I just got out of prison 9 months ago. But yeah, of course it was difficult having to deal with everything. But I mean, everything's turned out pretty well considering, all this got me sober. I'm 2 years clean off heroin now. You know what I mean? Things appear to be going on the right track for me. And it is what it is, but things worked out as best as they could, I'd say.
Okay. So in October of 2021, you got released from the feds.
October, yeah.
And once you got out, you actually had to pay restitution of $90,000?
96,000. Like I said, they part of the deal was keeping it under 100,000 to avoid that enhancement. But yeah, as of right now, I've been out 9 months. My restitution was 96,500 or something. I think I still owe 76,000 towards that.
What was it like to really walk out of that prison and now you have a felony in your record, and you have almost 100,000 in restitution. You aren't married anymore. Finding a job was going to be challenging. At that point, how did it really affect you emotionally?
Well, I mean, it's definitely hard for sure. I always tell people, my life is, I'm starting over from scratch. You know what I mean? And even though I didn't do a lot of prison time, but it's just everything, this whole situation has flipped my life upside down for sure. But I mean, there's been lots of blessings in all this as well. You know what I mean? Literally the getting out of prison, the first job I applied for was at a print shop. And, they hired me right away, so it's a really good job I've got. There's lots of opportunities. I'm writing a book right now, in the process of writing a book. There's potentially a movie in development about my story. So, I've been blessed in a lot of ways as well.
Well, I mean, from the outside looking in, what you did is not a violent crime and it's not a drug crime, but what you're doing is essentially undermining the world economic system in a way, because the US dollar is really considered the gold standard when it comes to currency around the world. So for you to come in and basically start printing money, literally, you are basically creating a very serious threat to the United States. So why was it only 3 years for $1 million? It seems somewhat low. I mean, for you, it was good. And ultimately only getting 10 months was even better. But doesn't that amount seem a little bit low considering the seriousness of what you were doing?
I mean, 3 years is a long time though, Vlad. You know what I mean? I mean, in all reality, it's a white collar crime. And I don't condone counterfeiting by any means. It isn't a good thing. But I mean, 3 years in prison is a deterrent for sure, for people. Because I mean, really, the Secret Service is pretty on point. You know what I mean? If you're gonna be out there counterfeiting at any consistent rate, you're probably gonna get caught for it. The Secret Service really know what they're doing. But yeah, I mean, I think that's what the Secret Service is kind of not scared of, but they're dealing with a lot of people out there with, because nowadays the technology of inkjet printers is super advanced. You know what I mean? So a lot of people can just buy a $100 printer at the store and start printing. I mean, granted, I've got a lot of knowledge in graphic design, and my little recipe that I concocted was very, worked very well. But for the most part, the Secret Service is dealing with a lot of different people, doing that right now.
Right, but the process you had, if you poured water on the bill, it will start to, basically bleed, right?
No, because I coated it with a lacquer.
Okay, but you said that your friend who got caught in the rain, you said that the
Oh
dollar
yeah,
started to kind of.
the color shifting. So like I used to replicate the color shifting ink. I used the iridescent green eyeshadow, and I would apply that after I sprayed it with lacquer. So the color shifting ink would kind of soak off, but for the most part, the bill itself was essentially waterproof or water resistant, I would say.
I mean, right now, if I were to put 10 $100 bills in front of you and one of them was counterfeit, can you spot the counterfeit one? Or is technology these days so high that there's probably a certain percentage of counterfeit bills that are just circulating around that no one could even find?
I mean, I'm sure there are definitely counterfeit bills out there that, some bills the Secret Service even has trouble. They have to match serial numbers and send it to the Federal Reserve. I think that level of quality is rare, kind of. But I'm sure a counterfeit bill has passed through all of our hands at some point, for sure, with that unknowingly.
Okay, so you're saying that I could throw a bunch of bills in front of you and you might not even be able to tell which one's counterfeit right now.
I mean, it depends on the quality of the counterfeit. I think I'm more of an expert than most people. I mean, but yeah, it's definitely a possibility. I mean, if the Bureau of Engraving and Printing can make these bills, somebody with money to invest to buy the right printers and everything can do it themselves.
Yeah, I mean, this almost reminds me of the Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hanks film, Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot.
Right, where Leonardo was basically making fake checks.
Mm-hmm.
And he was creating a whole process and everything else like that. And ultimately, just like you, he ended up cooperating with the feds and showing them how he did it and so forth. So it's kind of a similar type of story. Now that you're out, you've gone through all this. Do you regret what you did? Or do you feel like, well, at the time it was my only option, and if put in that same situation, I'd probably do the same thing?
I mean, it wasn't a good choice that I made. I mean, I don't know if I regret it. I mean, I guess I kind of do. You know what I mean? I should have, for the sake of my kids, all this, you know what I mean? Like, I probably should have just toughed it out for a month, gotten a new job, figured out other ways. But you know what I mean? It did happen. I can't change it though. So everything's turned out as best as it could. And I'm just trying to make the right decisions from here on out. I mean, that's all I can do.
Well, Jeff, a very interesting story. Because you always hear about counterfeiting. You always, I knew a guy in college that tried to do it with inkjet printers also that wasn't able to pull it off. And, it seems like such a, easy way to just print money, to create millions of dollars essentially out of thin air. And to actually found someone who actually did it successfully and was able to move $1 million in counterfeit bills and not get caught until, 2-3 years later?
It was about 2 years, maybe say,
Yeah.
16 months, 2 years, somewhere on there. And I did it when I was younger too, without being caught. But like I said, not at any extensive, maybe 6 months before that. But
yeah, I mean,
I had a good 2-year run though.
Yeah, man, it's a very crazy story. But it also teaches everyone the lesson that you could have a run and you could print up $1 million, but eventually it will catch up to you.
For sure.
And when it does catch up to you, the money that you made, usually will not equal the jail time and the losses and everything else like that that comes with it.
Well, yeah, people always hear about these crime stories, but most people don't realize the prison time, the restitution amounts, the old lady not answering your phone call on a Saturday night from prison, you know what I mean? They don't know about the halfway house, there's a lot of struggles that come with this shit, for sure. And, usually people don't talk about that. They talk about the glory days of making it rain and all this, and, but there's definitely consequences, and they do catch up with you, man.
Well, that's what it is. Jeff, I mean, congratulations for getting out and turning your life around and also taking responsibility for what you did. At no point in this conversation did you play yourself off as a victim or say, you had no other choice or whatever else. You made the choice to go into this field, and ultimately you paid the price for being into it. And, you're still young, you have your kids, you have your whole life ahead of you. And, I just wish you all the best and hope that you stay on the good side of the law and, use this experience to actually improve your life moving forward.
For sure. I appreciate all that.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you. You too.
Peace.